Ubisoft, you did it. It's been a long time since I've actually enjoyed one of your games. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is probably the first Metrovania that I've actually ever finished. Now, if you're new to Metrovanias, this is something I definitely recommend, and if you have experience in Metrovanias, I think you'll appreciate it and you'll have a good time playing this game. Right off the bat, it has a very cinematic storyline as well as a evolving gameplay. This is also my first time in the Prince of Persia kind of series, and I just have to ask, where is she? How do I get this stuff to come back? But other than playing this game for the plot, I do have to say that the story is something that intrigues me. And if you guys know my reviews, you know I care a lot about story in games. And in Prince of Persia, they do a really good balancing act. The theme of the story is what is at the end of my blade. It is told from us from the very beginning, and it plays as kind of like a subplot, but in the background of everything, not so much being direct and having us to infer everything that's going on between the interactions with the characters and the plot. The plot itself is, well, saving the Prince of Persia. Not so much being the prince this time around, but being a warrior who is devoted his life to essentially doing good or serving the prince. And then the character progression. We have ourselves playing as a warrior Sargon, who's essentially kind of figuring out what the right thing to do and what it means to be a warrior. I love this because all of them kind of accumulate into their own stories, each one getting its own plot twist. There's a twist for the plot, there is a twist for the character progression, and then there is a plot twist for the theme of the entire story as a whole, making it to where one is less direct than the other, allowing the audience to kind of catch on and figure things out as they are progressing through the game. My absolute favorite moment in all of this is kind of what's been told in the first act of the game, is what is at the end of my blade. And Sargon has to spend a lot of the game trying to figure that out. Each act he's kind of asking himself that question till it is finally kind of told to him, but not in a way that's direct and exposition. He realizes it and he doesn't say, "This is at the end of my blade." He kind of just comes to terms with the reality of what's been going on, and you as the audience, as you're paying attention to the story and everything that you've had to interact with up into the third act, kind of just falls into place, and it all makes sense because it was supposed to be this way from the very get-go. I know I'm sounding all cryptic and not saying spoilers, but for those of you who've already beaten the game, you know what I'm talking about. The gameplay is really straightforward. It's kind of, you're playing as a dude with two swords. You get to go in and hack and slash. However, what makes it so dynamic and evolving is the fact that you yourself get to change up Sargon's abilities and playstyle that fit you more specifically. This is giving freedom to the player in playing how they want to play. That's a lot of plays I said there. Now, it's not a crazy change, and everyone's playstyle can look very similar, but the slight adjustments can make all the difference. There's things from being able to slow down time whenever you dodge, if you prefer to dodge a lot more, or getting extra Athra? One of those things, whenever you counter or get a successful parry in. For me personally, it was staying on the attack, giving myself extra health and allowing myself to do a lot more damage anytime I could get the opportunity to do damage. I would do a lot of aerial combos to allow my character to do extra damage in the air, and if I was at full health, I allowed myself to do extra damage at full health. So it was about killing my enemy before they even had the chance to move on me. And when I say the game is straightforward, it does kind of feel like Super Smash Brothers. It feels like Sargon would be a character that would fit right into that type of game. It's that simplistic, addictive fun that you can repeat over and over again, and yet slowly you tweak as you level up and go through. You add on to that, you're never fighting the same enemy twice, or it never feels like you're fighting the same enemy twice, and that really creates this cool dynamic of every fight encounter is kind of like this puzzle where you're trying to figure out who you're fighting and the best way to take them out. The enemies themselves have their own counters or blocks or things that go against something that allows you to just rush in and hack and slash everything in your way, making you have to really deploy yourself in different scenarios, whether that's attacking someone from above or making sure you get an aerial combo on someone because they're always going to counter your third attack, or even just allowing yourself to use your range attacks to stun them before they can get away or do something crazy like their own range attack. The amount of different enemies you fight is very refreshing, and their own maneuvers that they add on to you keep you on your toes and make sure that you're always just kind of refreshing that brain cycle going on up there to make sure that you're never really doing the same thing twice. And then if you ever do have to double back, the experience that you've gained makes you feel more and more powerful, as enemies that may have given you troubles before, you're able to just kind of delete in a moment's notice. This makes any type of backtracking that you had to do in the game not feel so much as a chore, and also the level design is really well done. Fast travel points aren't everywhere, so it means you kind of have to go out of your way to get to certain places, but whenever you do go exploring or into those nooks and crannies, you tend to be rewarded, mainly just for the ability to just doing better at fighting, but it all just feels fulfilling, even if it is to get sometimes a Xerxes coin. So to some, the reward may not be all that worth it, but in actuality, for me, it was very fulfilling just to accomplish those things. And considering they weren't necessarily too time consuming in the length at which they should have been done, it doesn't feel like the game is trying to waste my time and prolonging its runtime for me, like a lot of modern games do these days. On top of this, as you're progressing the story will also kind of make you backtrack in fast ways so that you don't necessarily have to feel like you have to constantly be checking if you need to go back, or if you feel like, oh, I didn't fully explore an area, the story will kind of send you back over there so you yourself can find everything that needs to be found. To top it off, there are a bunch of other upgrades that allow the map to be fully open so you can see where you miss spot or where there might be potential for new loot for you to get. Now, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I never 100% a game. I never really planned 100% a game, but this was one of those games where it felt really good to come close to doing so, and I can see other people having a blast 100%ing this game. It helps that they have like this function where you can mark areas on the map so you know, oh, I need to come back over here, or a reminder there's something here. And they also have another neat function where just a press of a button, you can kind of take a screenshot of where you're at and it'll put it on the map so you know exactly where something was, whether it be like a puzzle you couldn't solve before or a chest. As the game progresses, of course, the enemies themselves get harder, but so do the puzzles and obstacles and platforming part of the game. There were moments where I definitely spent longer than I probably should have in a platforming section, but I felt so fulfilled, so really just proud of myself for sticking it through and making it happen. Overall, this game does a great job at captivating you with its story, keeping you entertained with its gameplay, and allowing you to have the freedom to play how you want, even if it's just tweaking a little bit. Which is why I have to give Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown a 9 out of 10. Until next time, play nice.